Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Hemingway Jones live fountain pen show where we talk about inks, journals and journaling, and just about anything and everything that will keep you inspired. Hello, nice to see you. It's been a week already, and what a week it has been. So quick how it goes by. Sometimes I can't keep track of the things I do. There's a lot to talk about. Some new things sort of happening in my world, in the channel's world. We're going into some really interesting directions, which is a lot of fun. The autumn season is pretty much filmed, which is unbelievable. So I have videos up, and what I mean by that is recorded, scheduled, and ready to go for now through December 11th, with the exception of Thanksgiving Day. Because I normally do a video on the pens I am most thankful for during the year, which is kind of a nice way of thanking you all for being here, which I appreciate so much. Never take this channel for granted. This has been such an amazing adventure for me, such an incredible experience. It keeps me motivated, keeps me inspired, keeps me writing. All of you guys, the members especially, all our great interactions that we have in our pen pal group for Illuminati and Cognoscenti members, Illuminati and Cognoscenti members, and all the nice emails I get and DMs and everything else. It really keeps me going, and I appreciate it, and I don't take it for granted. So I like to do a thank you video, and through pens, because pens are the focus. From a pen, we go to some amazing places. You may have heard me say that, and it's very, very true. So you will see that. I just have to record that, and I have some excellent ideas for it, but I want it to be very spontaneous. I always record that in a very spontaneous way, so I need a Saturday to do it coming up. And last weekend I did 2 videos, which is pretty amazing. And I should probably tell you what this week's video is. We're a little manic tonight. We're just going to roll with it. I do have some notes because we have a really interesting topic. And our main topic for tonight is on kind of tools or luxury items. What are fountain pens? And especially right now, at this moment, with all the sort of trade regulation, everything else affecting that, how even something more simple has been pushed into the realm of luxury. So it should be interesting. I'll get to that shortly. So I was speaking about the video for this week, and I think you'll really enjoy it. I am not one of these people who are overly impressed or enamored of any sort of celebrity. I don't know if that's sort of a Massachusetts thing. We're not overly impressed generally. It's a place where a lot of people can come walk around and you won't get approached because we're all main characters in Massachusetts. So if you think you're famous, come here and you'll be taken down a notch or two. But I never really wanted to do anything like, Johnny Depp uses a Mont Blanc fountain pen, which I believe he does. I don't care. I just don't care. I try to care. I may one day make a video like that. I'm sure I could make a nice one, an interesting one with interesting graphics. But it's hard for me to show any kind of enthusiasm on some actor and which fountain pen they use or famous personality. I know Howard Stern uses a Visconti. I don't know. I guess if you accomplish something in your life, and I mean, you could make the argument that Howard Stern has accomplished stuff. He's a guy who fought his way up. But I don't know. Just some people, I'm just not that impressed. I'm more interested in writers and creators rather than celebrities. I guess fine actors. I respect fine actors. But celebrities, people that are sort of known more for their fame than any one thing accomplishment that they've done. That does not interest me. However, There's always a however with me. What is it with you, Hemingway? There's always a however. Well, I do recognize my hypocrisies and I do recognize my contradictions. I think it was Walt Whitman, actually I know it was Walt Whitman, who famously said, I contradict myself, very well I contradict myself, for I contain multitudes. So that's my easy way out. Let's go with Walt Whitman for the out. So, yeah, not overly impressed with somebody who is famous for being famous. But this week is sort of my first foray into that. But it goes back to the golden age of Hollywood. So this Thursday, there will be a video that goes up, The Handwriting of a Hollywood Icon. And it tells the story of Cary Grant, who's one of my favorite actors. I love so many Cary Grant movies. One of the things about Cary Grant, and I don't want to steal the thunder from my video, but one of the things that's so interesting about him is he was great from his early days all the way up until his final films. I love so many of his films, from The Philadelphia Story, which is deeply personal to me. Just it's a movie I remember from my earliest ages. And being from Philadelphia, it's something I remember. I love C.K. Dexter-Haven. Who doesn't? Bringing Up Baby, one of the best slapstick comedies ever. And then you can leap ahead to things like Charade, which was the best Alfred Hitchcock movie that Alfred Hitchcock didn't make. And of course the ones that Alfred Hitchcock did make, like North by Northwest or To Catch a Thief, which is the perfect parfait for a Saturday afternoon. You have a rainy Saturday afternoon, watch To Catch a Thief, pour a glass of champagne, a little cheese, a little lunch meat, and you'll have a wonderful time. So I'm a big fan of Cary Grant. And of course, since this is not a biography channel, it has to do with his very unique, very interesting handwriting. And I think at one point I even tried to do Cary Grant's voice. So I think you will enjoy this episode. That's coming this Thursday. Oh, Tracy Likes Holiday. That's a great film too. That is a good film. He just had such a screen presence. Lady Manx loves Charade. I see a lot of the members are here. So thankful for all of you. Thank you for being here. Last week's video was a lot of fun. Really interesting topic for me. It was the top 5 fountain pens for introverts, which is something that I felt was important for many reasons, not the least of which is that I am much more introverted than you could imagine. Because when you go on a live show like this, and I have a job where I have to do a lot of public speaking, and I generally have to be sort of fearless, you would think that I am very adept at social situations, but I do get this horrible feeling of panic before I go on. But luckily, I get in a zone and I'm okay. Sometimes I get overwhelmed. My wife kind of knows my triggers, and when she's there, she's a tremendous source of support for me. But I felt as if it were important, because I figure if I feel something and you're all here with me as you are, then there must be many of you that feel the same or similar, and many more that we could reach, because a big part of this channel is sort of being evangelical for the case of fountain pens, reaching out, connecting with people on different ways and different levels, and introducing them to the incredible joy of writing with a smooth line. I love handing someone a fountain pen and saying, hey, try it, and then see how their face lights up. When you get that slide, that beautiful bit of ink that you can just trace across a page without hesitation, I love that. And you don't often get that from ballpoints. And I mean, ballpoints have their uses, But how many times do you pick up a ballpoint and 2 out of 5 of them just don't write? They're just dead or out of ink. They're not as reliable as critics of fountain pens let on that they are. So for me, being evangelical, if you will, and just having a really robust reach out and trying to get more people into the world of fountain pens and to view my channel as well, I just thought it was a nice way to craft an argument for which pens would be best for those of us that don't want to show off so much, just sort of want to slide under the radar. And people really resonated with it, which I really appreciated. There's some lovely comments. I judge things by the comments often. There were a couple of sort of, knuckleheaded comments. One person was sort of making fun of people with different mental illnesses for some reason. I don't know why. The comments can be funny sometimes. They can be a strange representation of some of what you see along the lines. That was one of the more bizarre ones. You get stuff, like last week I did one on journaling for when you're feeling broken, and someone in the comments there said that they don't like any mental health videos, that they're trite and kind of been done before and boring. So, I'll never stop doing those videos. I feel like they are probably the most important ones I do. Because once again, if I feel something and I feel something very deeply, I have to assume that some of you that are resonating with what I'm speaking about out there feel the same way and feel it's as important. So last week's video on the top 5 fountain pens for introverts, it was an inspired topic. I feel really proud of that one. And I came up with the title first, and I was sort of like, can I do that? Like, is that a video I could make? And sometimes I challenge myself. I have ones coming up that you just wait. I think you'll really like them. But at first you might read the title and say, that's interesting. What's he mean by that? And I feel like that's probably good. That's expansive. That's creating a larger dome, a larger embrace to bring people into our world. So I will be looking for those opportunities, and I think you'll see them coming up soon. Now, I see some super chats I want to acknowledge, but before I do, what do you guys think of this shirt, huh? I look pumpkin spicy tonight. This is I guess it's kind of vintage now. It's about 15 years old, from LL Bean's signature. And what I love about this shirt, it's very thin cotton, but it's in this perfect autumnal tones. And I only get to wear it maybe 2.5 months, part of September, October, November. By the time you get into November, late November, it starts to look dated. Like, Halloween's over, put that shirt away. But it's sort of a way to celebrate the season. So, all right, enough for my ode to my shirt, but I just thought you'd appreciate it. My wife liked my line when I said I was pumpkin spicy. The Incredible Light Universe, hello, so lovely. $9.99 super chat. Thank you so much. That is huge. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And a Latin phrase, I'm guessing, but now read, maybe laugh. I'm not sure what the other word was. And work and invent. I think that's close to what it's saying. I have no idea. I speak a little Italian, enough to get in trouble, and with a terrible accent. I have the weirdest accent anyway. Imagine me trying to get my pronunciation around Italian, especially since the Boston, Massachusetts accent, which has invaded my Philadelphia accent, which has always been a battle between a rotaric and a non-rotaric tongue. So either over-pronouncing R's, as we do in Philadelphia, or under-pronouncing them, or forgetting them entirely, or adding them where they're not, and taking them away from where they are, as we do in Massachusetts. I used to love the Kennedy accent. You know, JFK is a style icon of mine. And he would say words like vodka, you know, glass of vodka, or India, which is kind of interesting, or idea. It's a lot of fun. But in Philadelphia, we add ours, like orange. Or, I don't know, I can't think of another one that's really, really demonstrative. But so anyway, so now try to introduce Italian to that with a rolling R. It's a disaster, my friends. A beautiful disaster. Jade Gemini. Thank you so much. Super chat. $1.99. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. And Light Universe, thank you so much. I really appreciate it too. Struggling with the Sailor Pro G Fine. Very scratchy. Oh no. Oh no, Jade. A scratchy sailor. That is a rare occurrence as I understand it. Now, thank you, by the way, very much for the support and for the super chat. I am not so well versed in Sailor, but there is a Sailor video coming up very, very soon. Very soon. And we're going to some interesting new areas on the channel. Very soon. Whole bunch of new pens coming, which you'll be interested to know. One of them are in. 5 of them are in one video, is what I meant to say. Mary Men, hello. $5 super chat. I appreciate it. HJ, your sentiments, values, likes, and dislikes resonate with us and do make us feel included. I'm so glad, Mary. That's very important to me. When I created this channel, I wanted it to be something I would want if I weren't the guy running it. And I felt like there was space. Because when you start a YouTube channel, you sort of have to find your place, your presence within a certain community. I do create in a bubble. And I do worry, like that person who said that my videos on mental health are boring and kind of, I don't remember the exact phrase. Maybe it didn't say boring, but I know they said it was like trite, that it was just done to death. And they were bored because I guess I do what everybody does, which I'm surprised because like I thought I was original. And, but when you write in a vacuum, I don't know what's out there, but I've never seen any titles or anything for journaling or fountain pen videos about mental health. But I don't know. I don't write. I don't watch everything. I barely get enough time to make videos. So, but I do take feedback critically. And I think when people say if people kind of attack my writing, that does affect me. You know, like my appearance, that doesn't affect me. I'm old. I'm almost 60. I don't really care what I look like. I'm happy I have all my hair and my skin looks pretty nice for an older guy. And my wife finds me attractive. That's all that really matters. But if you kind of go after my writing or my editing, I guess I'm giving you a roadmap to how to hurt my feelings. But that actually does probably affect me a little bit. So, anyway. There you have it. So, I still haven't thought of a name for our group for Tuesday nights. I think it's probably a testament to this group of us who meet every Tuesday night that none of them seems appropriate because we encompass so much and we do so much that it's hard to come up with something. So it's going to be a longer process than I had hoped. But what can you do? What can you do? Well, let me show you some pens and then we'll keep moving things along. There's a lot of different things to talk about. I am making a couple of appearances. If anybody would like to meet me, I'd certainly love to meet you. Believe me, the pleasure is all mine. The Commonwealth Pen Show in Somerville, Massachusetts, which is very far from Boston. Although if you live in Boston, you know that Boston is an hour away from Boston. That is true. But Somerville is 2 towns over. So it's Boston, Cambridge, Somerville. I've lived in Boston. I've lived in Cambridge. I've lived in Somerville. So it's like going home for me. I love Somerville. Somerville has a quality. It's just a cool place. It's sort of like the Portland of Massachusetts. which is kind of fun if you're into Portlandia. But that show, the Commonwealth Pen Show, is September 27th and 28th. If you'd like to meet me and say hello and meet my lovely wife and incredible daughter, I will be there certainly between 11 and 1. Maybe a little before, I may stay a little after, but I'll certainly be there on the 27th on Saturday between 11 and 1. And then I'll get hungry and I'll need to eat somewhere. Probably in, I forget the name of the square. It's by Tufts. Is it Inman? But they have a Tibetan restaurant. And I've never had Tibetan food in my life until I lived in Somerville. And this is one of the great things about Somerville. And Tibetan food is a bit like mixing sort of Indian style with sort of Chinese. Imagine if you could somehow meld those two very different menus together. It's really, really interesting and really delicious. So I may go there. Rick Harsh, my friend, how are you? Canadian $5. Thank you, Rick, for the generosity. Well, today I paid off my mortgage. Way to go. Thinking of buying myself a Grail pen. Any suggestions? Congratulations, Rick. That's a wonderful thing. It's always great to be in that position. So Grail pen suggestions. Not knowing your entire collection off the top of my head. What are super Grails for me? I think the Visconti gives you a lot of value. You just need to get a good one. So I would say try one at a pen show if you can. Or get one from like Atlas where they'll try it for you. Or Pelican M1000. Do you have one of those? That's really brilliant. It's one of my favorites. Oh, thank you for your generosity. Let me also speak of another event I will be attending, and this is the Empire Pen Show. The Empire Pen Show. That is the 11th and the 12th. I'm assuming the 11th is the Saturday. I will be there on the Saturday. I'm staying at that hotel, so that'll be fun. But I am only going to the show one day. I'll probably be there most of the day, though, except to eat. Eating is very important to me. I think you know that. But I look forward to seeing you there, too. And then I'll be heading off to MoMA to see Starry Night. We may possibly go to the Cloisters. I am wicked overdue for the Cloisters. So that would be brilliant, but I don't know if that's going to happen this trip. Ooh, Tom Sheehan. I want to see if I can grab this comment. I love when we get great comments. Any Grail pens to avoid? Yeah, I think so. I would avoid Mont Blanc right now. I really would. I feel like they need to tidy up house until they get their QC under control. And I'm hearing a lot in the comments. There are a lot of fanboys who were ready to die on the hill and say I'm wrong. But if I took a survey of those that were saying, yes, that happened to me too, and then also talking to nib professionals, people who fix them and tell me the experiences they're having and what they're seeing, it has me feel that there is an issue with them as of late. Just something to keep an eye on. Doesn't mean you don't buy them, but I would probably avoid them for a while. And once again, because I contradict myself, very well I contradict myself, I bought a Mont Blanc pen today. But it's vintage. It's 20-something, almost 30 years old. And it is brilliant. Brilliant. I got a fantastic price. I bought it from Peyton Street Pens. I didn't want to buy it. It came up. I saw it. There's a picture on my Instagram, Hemingway_Jones. If you want to see it, it's in my stories. Go see it now before it disappears tomorrow. But I thought it was an absolutely brilliant price. I'll give you one hint. Onyx. Onyx is your hint. I guess you should go see it and you'll see what it is. But boy, I cannot wait for it to arrive. And it wasn't that much, but it was more than I wanted to spend. I don't want to buy anything that's very expensive anymore. But if I do, it's going to be something interesting that inspires me that I cannot leave alone. And that one just hit me in all the right spots. So I had to have it. Thank you for all the likes, guys. Thanks for all the super chats. I appreciate it. All right, let me show you some pens. I wish I could be more interesting on my choice of pens lately. I'm still using Rickshaw's case. Absolutely love this. I can't get enough of this case. It's a memory in my hand. Atlas Stationers, the Cloudgate as a bottle of ink, nibs up here. This just reminds me of our trip. What's this, Wilco building? I forget the name of that. Something like that, right? I love Chicago. I love the friends I made there. I miss Brendan already. I mentioned it last week. I'll say it again briefly. I got Yamabudo ink all over this. I was able to wash it, and it came out perfect. So, points for that. Okay. I'm still carrying the same 3 pens I've been carrying around. I did put a fun ink in this one. I can't remember off the top of my head if I shared it last week, but I'm going to share it again because it's super fun. So this, of course, is the Montblanc 149. Recent purchase in Paris. Had a messed up nib. But now it's fantastic. And the ink I'm using is also pumpkin spicy, just like me. It's really nice. It's actually great to write with now. Okay. I'm trying to write enough so you can see it. Isn't that great ink? It's Diamine Autumn Oak. It's very pumpkin spicy. It matches my shirt. I really love it. Oh, Tom Cooch is going to be there. We love Tom. Where's Tom? Tom, it flew by and I can't find it. But Tom Cooch is going to be in New York. He's worth seeing in New York. Lovely guy. So anyway, I love this color. You know, as I speak about pumpkin spice, I don't like pumpkin spice lattes, but I do drink a really girly Starbucks drink, and I'm not ashamed of it. I'm proud of it. I drink a venti iced chai tea latte. And I love really spicy drinks. I love chai tea. I love like gingerbread, like that kind of stuff. Pumpkin spice isn't spicy enough for me. Need more nutmeg, like more cowbell, more nutmeg, and not cowbell. You know, boy, Edson. I just asked Terry, I'm like, do you have any more Edsons lying around? I'd really like one. Waterman would be king of the world if they brought this back. This pen never lets me down. You know, I kind of hate how the cam doesn't focus. If my hand goes in, it wants to focus on my hand. I kind of hate that. Let me see if I can adjust it. I'm going to be kind to you all and do it when I don't have it on there. Let me see. Okay, that's pretty sharp. So this is just a joy. This is such an unnatural writing posture here, but I want it to be in focus. It'd be nice. I'd like to write this close, but I don't think I can. Oh, maybe I can. Maybe it just doesn't work in the medium. Okay. I'm sorry. I wonder. Let's try it low, should we? Does this work? It's so unnatural. I have to look over the phone. Did that work? Anyway, This is such a beautiful, brilliant pen. It's so pretty. So many ways. Okay, I forgot to tell you something about this that's really important. And that is that I am so into shading inks now. I think that the Autumn Oak, which I was inspired by my buddy, Lad Gardner. He writes letters in that. Hi, Obs. Nice to see you. Always a pleasure. And I saw it in print, and I had to have this ink, and I use it. I've been using it a lot lately. This, of course, is the Pilot Custom Urushi, and one of the videos I made this week was on this pen, so expect an epic on the Urushi. I do put the cap kind of away to keep it safe. And I have Konpeki in here, which shades so well. This is one of my favorite pens now. So nice. Yeah, look at that. Which ink do you like the best, guys? Which ink? Eclata Sapphire, classic. Just bright, vivid, Autumn Oak, or Konpeki. Which one? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. I can't get enough of this pen. A lot of pen. But it's gorgeous, I tell you. Gorgeous. Okay. I do have a few other things to show you. Well, at least one other thing to show you. But I see another super chat has arrived. The amazing Laura Notek. Thank you so much. $10 super chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sorry I'm late. I'll watch the whole video later. Don't worry. You don't have to worry. That's why the replay is up. I keep the replays up. You can watch it anytime you like. So I appreciate it. I appreciate your being here. All right, I need to make some room. Thank you, Laura, for your generosity. Laura is so generous. There are few people as generous as she. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Keeping the lights on. I appreciate it. Okay, so let me now show you what came in. This is a distraction because I'm reaching down, and then I can go back into frame. See that? Wasn't that slick? No, not really. So I bought this. I thought I'd show it to you briefly. It's Shakespeare's First Folio. It's a recreation, of course, because I don't have the funds to actually own Shakespeare's actual First Folio. But wouldn't that be magnificent if I did? Beautiful case, nice binding. It has a sort of a ribbon for the case, so you can pull it out of the case, which is very handy. Most of these case books don't have that, but this will be fun. I'm sure it'll show up in B-roll, and I don't know how much I can actually read it, though. It's not as legible as I had hoped it would be, but oops, it takes up like the whole desk, guys. But look at this. The First Folio, of course, were the first plays that were collected after the death of Shakespeare, and the folios generally got worse as time went on. So this has some plays that we would only have. They were only ever referenced here. I believe The Tempest and Macbeth are two of those very important plays. So I'm really excited about this. You know, I could probably read this. Yeah, I can read this. It does have the sort of liberal use of Fs. You know, Fs were often S's in those days. But I'm super excited with this. You guys know I'm a bit of a Shakespeare nerd. And this is a great addition to my Shakespeare library. So I'm very excited about this. It was around $75 if you're interested. But how do you put a price on that? Look at this beautiful edition. It weighs like 10 pounds. It's quite large. It's beautiful. It also has a bookmark. It really should have multiples, but I'll take what I can get. So, it's so heavy. It's so heavy. Achiro, fake name. Hello, my friend. H-Day, you have enough MBs. I know, I do. You're not wrong, my friend. But the one I bought is unique. It's not one I've seen, and the price was so good. And I'm actually thinking I might sell one of mine. I'm not sure I need to keep it. I really love the Around the World in 80 Days pen, but I'm not sure I need to keep it. I might sell that one. The one that's coming, though, you'll enjoy it, Ichiro, I think. Or maybe not. It's okay. But it was a pen. It's a double of a pen I have, but it's styled completely differently. And the one that I have gives me so much joy. So that's why I picked it up. Tracy says, H-Day, you do a very credible Christopher Walken. Thank you. Thank you. Someone said that at work today. I was doing it, and they were like, wow, that's really coming along. So thank you. I appreciate that. You are very, very kind. Tracy, do me a favor. Let me know if you think I'm as good of a Cary Grant. Although I was telling a story, I wasn't really trying to do Cary Grant, but I own it. And Tracy, I'm going to put up 2 of your comments because Flat White is Starbucks go-to order. If anybody's into Starbucks, let me know what your order is. I'd be curious. The funny part is that I like Dunkin' Donuts, which is probably not a surprise being from Massachusetts. And I like black Dunkin'. So I have a medium hot black in the morning. And then I'll have Starbucks later. So Simply Obs is digging the Shakespeare. Very cool. Very cool. It is hard to film writing, isn't it? Oh, maybe you're not talking about Shakespeare. You might be talking about the folio. Okay. Or rather, you're not talking about the folio. You're talking about when I was writing. It is hard to film writing, Obs. What I found is that Ecamm is not great for filming writing because it wants to focus on whatever's closest to the camera, and that's usually the back of your hand. So what I end up doing is going really high, and then I zoom in, and the resolution's good enough for that. So that's how I do the handwriting videos. But then sometimes I also set up a separate camera, and I record separately, and then I marry it with the Ecamm. Because I do record my videos on Ecamm, generally. Which is why I argue with it all the time, as you know. Daniel Riviera, Super Chat, 1999. Thank you so much. See you at Empire. Yes, I will see you at Empire. And I'm going to have my posse with me. My daughter and my wife, which I am very, very happy. Here's a question I have to take, and I'm trying to make my way to the main topic, but your comments are on point tonight, guys. Well done. Have you had many issues with the Pilot Custom 823 on Amazon? I saw a lot of reviews about that. Rick, no. Pilot Custom 823, I will say this, and I think it's true, but feel free to challenge me, okay? Amazon is a fantastic place to get reviews of fountain pens if you want to know sort of what everyone thinks. And what I mean by that is that many fountain pen users are very knowledgeable. They go and they read forums, and they are in groups on Facebook. They follow different creators, Pen Addict and whatnot on Instagram. Maybe occasionally they watch one of my videos, I hope. So that's kind of us. But some people just buy fountain pens, and it might be their first. If they're not sort of up on how to use a vac fill or whatnot, there's going to be opinions that are wider. I think it's more of a wider net that it brings into their conversation. So I went through looking at some of the Lamy ones, and a lot of the folks that received Lamy pens return them thinking that they were used because Lamy tests them. And there's a bit of ink on the nibs. If you go to Amazon Warehouse and you buy a Lamy Safari, it's one of the best deals out there because it's a return of a brand new pen that many people thought was used because somebody dipped it. So, but if you were into fountain pens, you would know that. That's what I'm trying to say. Shakespeare First Folios used to be published by Yale Press and by Norton. The one HA shows is by Rizzoli, if I'm right. I think it was, I forget myself, but it was through, is it? Well, why don't I just look? There's a nice booklet that comes with it, too. You know what? I can't look because it's only the folio. I'll have to look it up. I don't remember myself. Does it say? Oh, the British Library. Yeah. So, maybe it's Rizzoli does the printing. Yep, Rizzoli Electra, and it's done through the British Library. I knew there was an institution in England. I wasn't sure if it was like the Royal or if it was the British Library, but it's British Library. Okay. Great. Wow, these hours go fast. It's almost 45 minutes in, and I still haven't started. But let me just say a few things. One is, in the descriptions of this video, I have some discount codes. Some help the channel, but some don't. HJ10 at Atlas helps you, not me, but it helps Atlas, and they're a great company, so I'm happy to do that. So if you want 10% off Atlas, you can do that. I also have some Spotify links. So if you're looking for some music, I am very proud of my classical mix on there, and I see there's about 85 people that have subscribed to it, which I'm very proud of and happy. I think it's one of the best classical mixes because I have been curating that for years, for like 5 or 6 years, and very happy with it right now. So it's called The Stones of Old England. And I made it for one of my England trips, and I just kept the title. So jump into that if you'd like to. And there's some dark academic study music there for journaling, for studying. So check that out. Okay, let's talk about our main topic before I don't have any time for it. And that is fountain pens as tools or luxury. And what sort of got me thinking about this are two things. One is that in my comments recently, someone remarked, oh, my voice is going already. Someone remarked how the ending of the de minimis exemption for imported goods in America has ended many people's, in their opinion, fountain pen collections and collecting. And I think it's probably overstating it to say that it ended it, but I think it certainly impacts and cuts it down. I know a lot of people aren't buying anything right now because the taxes are just way too high. You buy an item and there's like a 30% tariff. That's a third on top of it. That's huge. So, you buy a $300 fountain pen, you're paying almost $400 for it, $390, and that's just a tax going to the government. And most people don't like paying taxes, so a lot of people aren't doing that. And it's probably cutting down the amount that people are paying, but it's also taking normal pens and kind of pushing them into luxury category. Now, we could talk for hours on what makes something luxurious, because to most people, a pen is just a tool. And they'll pick one up at the bank and they'll carry it around until it stops writing, and they'll toss it, and then they'll pick one up somewhere else. Pens are like coffee in a way. Both items are free if you want them, or you could pay as much as you'd like for them, which is really interesting. And if you consider that, even a $25, $30 pen from a cost perspective is a luxury. And then if you add a third or 20% even on top, it really does add up, and it really is a significant cost. But there's also some other angles to this, and that's, I've spoken to you a lot, and I've seen it in the chats where people say, I've never encountered anyone else who uses a fountain pen. Well, I do. I know several people who do. I have clients. Sorry, guys. I tried to hit the mute button, but I couldn't make it in time. I have clients. I have attorneys that I work with. And one of my clients has multiple Montblanc 149s. And he's European. He is a very wealthy guy. He's probably worth a few $100 million. And he's pretty liquid and a nice kind of mix of assets. And when you go in his office, he has one of those sort of Atlas, kind of Ayn Rand sort of pen holders with Atlas holding up the pen. And he has his Montblanc in there, and it's well used. It's probably been scratched a little bit by those tiny little brass hands on the pen holder. But to him, it's a tool. But it's a Montblanc tool. It's a luxury item to most of us that he sees as a tool. And to him, $1,000 is probably like $20 to us. So, Tracy, I agree. I'm similarly keeping my spending here to avoid the tax. It's also affecting me with when I want to do videos. I've been contacted by pen makers, pen companies outside the U.S., and they're like, well, we want to send you a pen and, make a video and then, do what you want with it, give it to somebody or whatever afterward. And I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, well, are you guys going to pay the tariff? And then they're like, no. And I'm like, well, then don't send it because I'm not paying the tariff. Because even if you send it as a demo, you still get charged a tariff. I do. So Conway Stewart sent me a pen. It was an expensive pen. And the tariff was, I think, $200 and some on it, or close to that. And they paid it because they're awesome. And but some other people, they might not want to. So it's affecting a lot of things. But back to the topic, I think you guys know too that I am not wholly comfortable with the idea of like luxury per se. I feel like every fountain pen experience should be luxurious because there should always be this feeling of sort of indulgence, of just adoring it. And it shouldn't be based on the price of the thing. It should be just on the fact that there's this ritual of luxury about a fountain pen, that you cradle it in your hands, you take it apart, you fill it up, you choose the ink that you want. It's customizable to you. It becomes personal because your will is now sort of imposed on this item. It's going to express your thoughts. It's going to be forward facing. It's going to do some of the work of how you portray yourself to the world, at least in a written form. That should all feel very luxurious to you, regardless of the price point. I feel like the idea of buying a pen just to say, hey, look what I have, aren't I cool, is a little silly. It has to inspire you. And I think that's part of the reason why I've reined myself in so much from making purchases. If it doesn't really motivate me and give me something different, something intriguing, something that I can obsess over and puzzle over and maybe be inspired to create something, maybe just for when I'm journaling, I just feel so interesting or so much in my own sort of space with it, where it's like a flawless synergy between me and the pen, then I'm not that interested. And I'm certainly not interested in soliciting admiration. That's kind of not my thing. I don't want to say I don't care what other people think, because I'm courteous. I care to be harmonious with everyone. I don't want to be obnoxious. I don't want to be vulgar in displays of wealth or any sort of item, because anything you have somebody else has better. Believe me. I personally believe that the things I have are cool because I have them. I transfer Timness onto my items. They don't confer any status onto me. I have a very specific aesthetic. And when I find something that fits into that and it makes me feel really creatively fulfilled, that's special. And nothing that feels too precious is going to really sit comfortably within that. So it's really funny. This is actually not at all what I meant to speak about, but it really is, in a way, kind of a more honest way of talking about it. And it's always been that sort of fight with me. I don't want the channel to be materialistic because I'm not materialistic. No, that's wrong. I am materialistic. I do like items. But I don't feel like you need to spend a lot to get the same enjoyment. I feel that you can find what interests you, whatever that niche is, and I'll celebrate it with you regardless. I sometimes see pens and I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't have gone in that direction, but people are so happy. And it's just like, well, good on you, mate. That's the one that makes you happy. Enjoy it. For me right now, it's not new Mont Blanc. It's more old, vintage, interesting items. That's kind of what gets my creativity going. But I am a little troubled by the escalator of ascending grail pens that is sort of pushed on people through a lot of means, a lot of different stores and things. You can stop at any point. A great spot to stop is the Pilot Custom 823. If you say, like, what one pen, buy that one. And don't buy anything else. You don't need it. Everything else is equal. It could be very different. If you're curious, go for it. But it's not going to be better. So, Pilot Custom 823 is a really good place to stop. Lamy Safari is not a bad place to stop. A Jinhao X159, if that motivates you, is not a bad place to stop. I see a lot of pens that are really good places to stop. So I guess follow your inspiration and not what you think is the next step. Right, David Pearsons, with your $5 super chat. Thank you so much, my friend. Fountain pens are functional fine art, and the experience of writing, creating, and having the entire tactile experience of using them is what matters. You know, I agree with that, and especially the tactile part. I'm glad you said that, because I am in sort of a, I don't know, what's the right term? Like a nostalgist, if you will. I really love how things were 100 years ago. A desk with an ink pot, a fountain pen, a wax seal, a stamp, a candle, actual books, the smell of old books. This is the sort of thing that really keeps me engaged and productive, even if I'm doing banking work. That's why I bought this desk. It reminds me of how things were years ago. But a big part of that is tactile, is smells, tastes. I do try to put that stuff in my videos, so it's not just writing, but a bit of sensory otherness, if you will. Poetic strangeness is a term I read recently. I forget who said it, but I really liked it. A certain poetic strangeness. Tom Cooch, my friend, $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Hoping to buy a Waterman Quran next week at Gilbert Papetiere. I don't know how to say that. Great. Did everyone see the opera? The opera line of Waterman? They are so pretty. I'm tempted, but I'm not going to buy doubles of Watermans just because they're pretty. I have 2 Qurans. I would buy another Edson. I'm keeping an eye out. And beside that, I'm good. Well, there is another Waterman coming, and that's for a video. which I think you'll be excited about. But the video this week is the handwriting of a Hollywood icon, a legend, a style icon for me, the magnificent Cary Grant. We will talk about his life, his films, and I guess I do kind of a Cary Grant impression during one part, telling a story, and we will look at his incredible, expressive, interesting, and beautiful handwriting, and we'll address it. We have a few more handwriting videos to go, and then I'm going to lay off those for a while. I like to do things kind of in groups, and then I feel like they run their course, and then I'll pick it up again later. But I think there's one more after this, maybe two, and then we'll pick it up again a few months from now. Speaking of things I pick up again, there will be a Pens I'm Thankful For video coming out this Thanksgiving. I always do that. And as you know, and I'm going to do my favorites. My favorites have changed. And I usually track how they've changed, which is kind of part of the fun. But this next one, I think, in the Bachelor speak, is the most exciting, the most dramatic, top 5 yet. I just need to film it. So that's coming up, I guess, sometime in December, January, because I'm scheduled already. And I still have to kind of work in the pen show videos I'll record at the 2 pen shows and a few other things. So it's going to be quite an autumn season. I'm very thankful for you guys for being here. It's a blast. We're having a blast. Anna, how are you? Anna Paradox. I looked at the reflections of Paris at San Francisco Pen Show. It's much more intense in person. Very cool shimmering effect on the cap. Right? I know. It's hard to photograph because the light just makes it into a big blurry blob. And you almost have to photograph it in low light to get the effect. Maybe I should have done that. But you're very right. So true. So true. Okay. Well, I feel like we are at the end of an incredibly quick hour. I appreciate you all for joining me. I appreciate the super chats. I appreciate just how I get to see you guys each Tuesday night. It means the absolute world to me. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoy the videos. I'll keep them coming. Keep making them interesting. I think you'll love some of the stuff that I have written, ready to film. It's going to be a fantastic autumn. And then it's going to roll right into winter. So thank you all for being here. New video this Thursday. So I can promise you what I always promise you. And I deliver on it. That I will see you very, very soon. Further up the road. So until then, much love and take care.